Mario Kart is one of my favorite Nintendo series. It's one of the best multiplayer games ever made, and the definitive kart racing series. I've played quite a few kart racers, and it's rare to come across ones that even come close in quality to the Mario Kart games. And with that being said, I am going to rank every Mario Kart game in this video. And by every Mario Kart, I don't just mean the mainline games. I'm also including the arcade games, along with Mario Kart Tour. The only thing that won't be on the list is Mario Kart Arcade GP VR, because 1, I never have gotten the chance to play it, and 2, it's really more of an amusement park attraction rather than a Mario Kart game. That would be like ranking the Shrek movies and including Shrek 4D, although it probably would be ranked higher than Shrek the Third. And keep in mind, just because a game you love is ranked lower, doesn't mean it's bad. It's just not as good as another entry in the series. Without further ado, here is every Mario Kart game ranked. I'm sorry to say this, but my least favorite Mario Kart is the first one in the series, Super Mario Kart. And that really isn't the game's fault. There are two things that set it back. For one, it was the first Mario Kart. Usually the first time you do anything, it won't be perfect. And the other thing is just the age of the game and the system it was on. The SNES could do some pretty cool things to get around not having proper 3D, such as Super Effects chips and Mode 7 graphics, but if you've been spoiled by true 3D games like I have, it's a little bit hard to get used to and doesn't feel right. The controls aren't that good and the split screen is terrible. Mario Kart is one of those games that really needs to be in 3D. There's still fun to be had with Super Mario Kart, but it's aged as well as Donatello Versace. Up next is the third Mario Kart game, Mario Kart Super Circuit. This was the first Mario Kart game on a handheld and one of the first GBA games. This game is unique in a lot of ways. For one, this was the first Mario Kart not directly developed by Nintendo and instead Intelligent Systems, the same developers behind Fire Emblem and Paper Mario. That's partially why it feels a bit different than any other Mario Kart. And it was also the first game to introduce retro tracks. Every track from Super Mario Kart is here, so you're essentially getting two games in one. What they did here is interesting. They took the presentation of Mario Kart 64 and gameplay of Super Mario Kart and blended them together. Since the Game Boy Advance can't fully render 3D either, they had to use Mode 7 to simulate 3D. There are still the control problems present in Super Mario Kart here, but because there's more content and the tracks are more interesting, the game is way better. I actually enjoy Super Circuit quite a bit, and I find it a bit underrated. It hasn't aged super well, but it remains a solid entry. Whoa! This one's gonna be a bit controversial right here. Why am I ranking Mario Kart Tour so low? The thing is, Mario Kart Tour is a lot of fun to play, and my criticisms really have nothing to do with it being a mobile game. It's simplified a bit, but it's Mario Kart at its core. The game looks great and has so many other positive aspects, such as special items, reverse and T tracks, the score, and more. There's a lot of potential for a really good Mario Kart. Problem is, in its current state, Mario Kart Tour has a lot bringing it down. Once you get the 5 stars on the tracks that are actually possible to beat, there's not much you can really do except gain experience because there's a coin cap and experience cap for karts and drivers. Having this makes players disinterested because if they can't progress, they're gonna get bored and play another game. Loot boxes are in the game, and they 100% need to go. You can buy some characters in the shop, but the problem is, there's only 9 items in total per day, and you never know when you can buy something. If everything was in the shop at once and coins were the only currency, that would be great. But the prices are way too high. Let's say you have no coins. High-end characters cost 12,000 coins each, and if you want to buy them, it's gonna cost roughly $46 worth of rubies. You can get about 4,000 coins in Coin Rush, that'll cost you 25 rubies to play, and you'll have to play it 3 times. That is insanely expensive for just one character. That's almost the cost of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. In fact, I'm pretty sure you could get a used 2DS and Mario Kart 7 for that price. But most importantly, Nintendo needs to add multiplayer soon, because a single-player Mario Kart isn't as fun as multiplayer, and changes need to happen soon, otherwise players will leave. If Nintendo can fix these things, Mario Kart Tour could actually be a great game, but in its current state, it's a game with a lot of potential, with too much bringing it down. It's still a fun game, but not even close to as good as it could have been. This is one you may or may not have played. Mario Kart Arcade GP was released in 2005 and developed by Bandai Namco, not Nintendo. And yes, This time I didn't say Namco Bandai. That's why the game feels so different compared to the other entries in the series. The core concept is the same. You race, use items, all while trying to get first place. But there are some pretty big differences compared to the other games. Because this is an arcade game that's controlled with the steering wheel and gas pedal, the tracks are more simplistic. They look great and are a lot of fun to play, but the layout isn't complex, and there aren't the gimmicks and shortcut tracks in Mario Kart are known for. But this is made up for with the items. There are almost 100 items in this game, and it's so much fun to try them out. You can only use 3 per race, but there's such a variety here. You have your standard mushrooms, green shells, and bananas, but you also have black shells which act like shells but explode on impact, the virus from Dr. Mario which makes your opponent's view dizzy, and the carrot from Super Mario Land 2 which makes them jump uncontrollably. Special items for certain characters are here too, with my favorite being a fart for Wario. And to top it off, there are even a few Pac-Man characters you can play as. Bandai Namco did develop the game, and it's so cool that they're here. There's even 2 Pac-Man themed tracks. If you ever come across this game, it's definitely worth playing and a truly unique Mario Kart game. Up next is another entry in the arcade series, Mario Kart Arcade GP 2. Everything I said about GP applies here, because this is essentially just an updated version of that game. If you played GP 2, then you played the first one. Except Waluigi and Mamechi the Tamagotchi are playable, there are 2 new cups, and more items are in the game. Characters also have more than one kart, but there's one major difference between the first game and this one, and that's the fact that there's live commentary during the race. Some people despise it, but the good news is, you can turn it off. If you're playing in the arcades, it's really not going to be a problem since it's going to be allowed there anyway. Me personally though, as cheesy as it is, it's pretty entertaining. But most importantly, Mario Kart Arcade GP 2 added Waluigi, and that's a good enough reason alone to rank it above the first game. While Super Mario Kart started the Mario Kart series, Mario Kart 64 is the one that defined it. Not only did it bring the series into 3D, but it also set the standard for how Mario Kart plays. This was the first time in the series to include 4-player multiplayer, the mini turbo, and really put a focus on the items. Here, item management is key, and you have to decide the right time to use them if you want to win. The tracks are a lot more unique and memorable than they were in Super Mario Kart, and I found them a lot of fun to play. Of course, there are some slight issues like the rubber banding AI, but yet again, it was one of the earliest Mario Karts. While I do find it a little bit overrated, Mario Kart 64 still holds up pretty well and set the standard for Mario Kart, and for that, I have mad respect for it. Mario Kart 7 did a lot of things for the Mario Kart series. It added gliding and underwater sections, while also adding the ability to customize your kart. This game has my favorite selection of tracks in the series, while also having great gameplay. But why is it ranked so low on the list? Well, Mario Kart 7 doesn't have a versus mode. At all. That means if you want to play your favorite track, you're gonna have to play an entire cup to play it. In the older entries, it didn't really affect my experience with the game, because versus mode wasn't introduced until Mario Kart DS. But this was released 6 years after DS on a more powerful system. No excuses. The roster is also pretty bad. I like the new characters, but why is there no Waluigi? You went from GP2 that had Waluigi being a selling point to ditching him in 7. Other than those issues, Mario Kart 7 is a lot of fun to play, and a solid entry in the series. It might surprise some of you guys that this game is higher than Mario Kart 7, but keep in mind, I like all the games, just some a little more than the others. Released in 2013, Mario Kart Arcade GP DX is easily the best arcade Mario Kart, and the most underrated entry in the series. Unlike GP 1 and 2 where they're pretty much the same game with 2 having additional content, GP DX is a full-on new game. They honestly should have swapped the titles between 2 and DX. Tracks are still simplistic, but the addition of gliding and underwater sections makes them even more fun to play. You can even power slide in this game. And because the game is in glorious HD, the game looks more beautiful than ever, and the tracks are a lot more unique. The roster of characters is pretty impressive for an arcade game, and even has alternate costumes for characters, something even the mainline Mario Kart games can't understand. Now there's over 100 items in the game, and like the other games, you can only use 3 at a time, but there's still a ton of fun to use and define the arcade games. But where the game really shines is the multiplayer. You can either race like normal, or play co-op where you can actually fuse your karts together to make a tank. One person drives a tank, while the other shoots shells. This mode is so cool, and I really hope it makes it into future Mario Kart games. In fact, Why not just port GPDX and the other arcade games to the Switch? These are games that need to be preserved and played by more people because they're so much fun to play. The only complaint I have about GPDX is Miss Pac-Man and Blinky aren't playable, and Pac-Man has his Ghostly Adventures design. But other than that, it's a great entry in the series and can be played at every Dave & Buster's across America. This is the first Mario Kart I ever owned. The first one I played was Mario Kart DS after borrowing it from my friend Billy in 4th grade, but this was the one I fully got into. Remember how I said Mario Kart 64 defined the series? I feel Mario Kart Wii defined the series for another generation, myself included. There are people I know who aren't even into games, but will still play Mario Kart Wii. Nostalgia aside, how is the game? While Mario Kart Wii doesn't have a ton of new ideas, it's still solid and a really good Mario Kart. This game has some of my favorite tracks in the series such as Coconut Mall, Toad's Factory, Maple Treeway, and Wario's Gold Mine, just to name a few. The roster is the best roster we've had in any Mario Kart, because instead of ditching already established characters for made-up babies and weird metal characters, most of the fan favorites are here with the exception of Pauline, who wasn't even relevant anyway in 2008, and they added Funky Kong. This is a character that needs to come back to Mario Kart. The items can be a bit out of control in Mario Kart Wii, but besides that, I really can't say anything bad about the game. It's a great game and the first game I think of when I hear Mario Kart. Definitely one of my favorites. This entry and Mario Kart Wii are very close. Mario Kart Wii has a lot more tracks and better controls, but Mario Kart Double Dash has so many new ideas and concepts that it's hard to choose between the two. But I will say, Double Dash is a little bit better. Double Dash is by far the most unique mainline Mario Kart. Not only is it way cooler driving with two characters, but it also adds strategy to the game. Characters have their own special items, which is something that was sadly ditched in the following mainline games. This is a great feature to have because it makes characters actually mean something, and choosing the right characters or combinations adds strategy. The tracks are also great. Who could forget such classics such as Dino Dino Jungle, Wario Coliseum, and Yoshi Circuit? There's not only competitive multiplayer, but co-op as well. The special items, double karts, and co-op need to come back in the next Mario Kart. We've seen some of these concepts return in Tour, so it is possible. It's an entry in the series that isn't like any other, and always worth replaying. Released in May of 2014, this was the first Mario Kart I got on day one. Mario Kart 8 was the best-selling Wii U game, and one of the best titles in the series. What Mario Kart 8 did was took the general gameplay of Mario Kart 7, refined it, while also adding the new anti-gravity mechanic. The anti-gravity is more of a gimmick than anything, but it's pretty fun to use, and adds more to the gameplay. The tracks are the best in the series. Even the retro tracks sometimes feel unrecognizable, and that's a great thing. Mario Kart 8 has the best gameplay and controls out of any Mario Kart game, but it does have some flaws. For one, you can only carry one item at a time. This becomes a problem because coins are items, and if you get a coin, there's no way to defend yourself. And finally, the elephant in the room, the lack of battle mode. Technically, there is a battle mode, but Mario Kart 8's battle mode isn't even a battle mode. You just race through tracks trying to pop balloons, but with the layout of the tracks, it just doesn't work. The core gameplay is nearly flawless in Mario Kart 8, but the lack of a battle mode brings it down. If only this were somehow fixed. Widely considered to be the best Mario Kart, Mario Kart DS is the game that set the standard for every Mario Kart following it. This game had your regular 16 tracks, with the addition of 16 retro tracks. The only game to do this before was Mario Kart Super Circuit, and that was only SNES tracks. Here you have every track from previous Mario Karts, minus Arcade GP of course. And on top of that, this game has some of the greatest Mario Kart tracks ever made. Airship Fortress, Luigi's Mansion, Delfino Square, Tick-Tock Clock, and it's home to my favorite Mario Kart track of all time, Waluigi Pinball. Because Mario Kart DS was made for a handheld, single player was considered, and it gave us one of the best things in Mario Kart, Mission Mode. You complete challenges such as hitting Monty Moles and going through rings, and it makes the game so much more replayable and memorable. You have great new tracks, retro tracks, and a great single-player campaign, and that's why Mario Kart DS is one of the greatest Mario Kart games ever made. But there's only one that can top it. What do you get when you add new characters in a battle mode to Mario Kart 8? The best Mario Kart of all time. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is almost everything a Mario Kart should be. It has everything I love from Mario Kart 8, in addition to a full-on battle mode. There are new and returning arenas with 5 different battle modes, my favorites being Shine Thief and Balloon Battle. The only things I would have done to make the game better were having options for untimed battle mode, have some new tracks thrown in, a mission mode, and have some other fan favorite characters like Pauline, Diddy Kong, and Birdo. But as a whole, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the definitive Mario Kart experience. It has great controls, excellent tracks, fun gameplay, and a great battle mode, all while having a gorgeous presentation and a stellar soundtrack. There's no other Mario Kart that can top 8 Deluxe in my opinion, and until Mario Kart 9 changes that, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe remains my favorite Mario Kart. So there you have it. Here are all the Mario Kart games ranked. I like all the games in the series, and I really hope we get a new entry soon. But until then, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe reigns supreme. But what is your favorite Mario Kart? If I had to guess, it would probably be Mario Kart Wii. If I was right, let me know in the comments. But if I was wrong, you let me know what your favorite Mario Kart game is. Anyways, thanks for watching, and keep calm and da-da on.